House Judiciary Committee meets Judiciary Staff Union. Chief of Army Staff Police appear before House Committee investigating arms purchase. And National Assembly adjourns to mourn deceased House members. It's a pleasure to have you join us on You and Your Reps. My name is Victor Azu. Welcome. Now, the House of Representatives Committee on Judiciary says it is in solidarity with the striking judiciary staff. The members, however, made it clear that the blanket approach by the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JSUN, requires a rethink. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the committee met Wednesday with the Executive Committee of JSUN and urged the union to allow federal courts to function.
The committee at the meeting says striking judiciary staff could use lawful means to achieve demands, but urged that the principle of fair play should be applied. It argued that since the federal government has granted and is implementing financial autonomy, the doors of federal courts should be open.
Money meant for federal judiciary that is under statutory transfer is sent straight to the National Judicial Council for the benefit of courts and other judicial bodies under the federal government. It is not fair for the judiciary at the federal level or the staff of the judiciary at that federal level to embark on on this industrial action.
Representatives of the striking judiciary staff pointed out that while they work in the temple that is the last hope of the common man, refusal of state governors to grant financial autonomy amounts to denial of justice to those that facilitates the process.
The Constitution of the Federal Government of Nigeria has not been implemented according to the prescription that guarantee financial autonomy, and is that the judgment of court that we have obtained 7 years ago had not been complied with.
The committee promised to reach out to all stakeholders involved towards resolving the impasse.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, has reiterated the commitment of the armed forces to improve the security situation across the country. During an appearance before the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the purchase of arms and ammunition by the armed forces from 2010 to date, the Army Chief forwarded documents requested to aid the investigation.
I believe we'll continue to remain partners in progress. We'll continue to work for the Nigerian people.
The committee will, in the next 4 weeks, study the documents, after which there will be another engagement with the Army Chief. The Nigeria Police also appeared at Monday's sitting, but deliberations were shifted to a later date to enable the appearance of the Inspector General of Police. In the meantime, the two chambers of the National Assembly reconvened plenary Tuesday after the Easter break. But as is the tradition, legislative business was suspended to honor two members of the House of Representatives who died during the break.
Haruna Maitala, member representing Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency of Plateau State, died 9 days into the Easter break in a motor accident. 4 days after came the announcement of the death of another House member, Suleiman Aliu, representing Lere Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, after a brief illness. The loss of the two lawmakers, says the House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, was shocking.
He had just come back from official assignment, ECOWAS Parliament, that same morning, and he was meant to go to Jos, and on his way to Jos was when he met and death confronted him, so to speak. And he died together with Honorable Gagdi's legislative aide and his son. What is even more painful was that he was going for his son's wedding the following day in Jos. Honorable Matala, like I said, was a quiet, a gentleman. He was particularly close to the Deputy Speaker, coming from the same state. We commiserate with his family and those that he has left behind. Honorable Mutala, my understanding was he had even tried to run, if I'm correct, for the House of Representatives a couple of times and lost, and eventually got it, and then this. Ditto, Honorable Larry, the circumstance of his death was again very painful for many of you who may know. He struggled and fought hard for almost 2 years in the law courts in his election petition case, and he eventually won almost after 2 years. And we swore him in just a couple of months ago. Weeks. Yeah. It was a very bitter fight. Only for us to hear that he had gone a few weeks after we swore him in. Both very painful, both very difficult to understand, but God knows best.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them Al-Jannah Firdaus and the fortitude to the family to bear this very serious loss, and our dear colleagues as well.
At the Senate, 30 minutes after reconvening, all items scheduled for consideration were stepped down in honor of the 2 members of the House of Representatives who died during the Easter break.
In common English terms, oversight simply means the action of overseeing something. In legislative parlance, however, it means so much more. Let's go over to the Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata, to shed more light.
It's one of the principles of checks and balances. By law, the legislature is supposed to oversight the activities of the executive. What do I mean? Annually, appropriations are made. Various sums of monies are appropriated for various government agencies and ministries. It is up to the legislature now to make sure that the funds appropriated are utilized accordingly. In addition, the House has over 100 committees. These committees are looking after the activities of various ministries and extra-ministerial departments. They make sure they visit. Sometimes the committees visit those ministries, agencies, to see for themselves practically what has been done or what is being done by those agencies or ministries. That is oversight, to make sure that, yes, the ministries or agencies are doing their job as it should be done.
As the House of Representatives gradually reaches the business end of the constitutional review process, we engaged the member representing Lokoja, Kogi Federal Constituency of Kogi State, Issa Shaba Ibrahim, on what Nigerians can expect from the process and more. Take a listen.
Constitutional review is our topmost priorities, because if you know, part of the problems, or most of the problems bedeviling our democracy is the process of the election or emergence of leaders. We need that electoral reform to be able to inject transparency into the system so that ultimately the people's votes will count. And that is the basis of every democracy. When the people's vote counts, they elect leaders of their choice, and you have less rancor when it comes to implementation of government policies and driving down the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy as enshrined in the Constitution.
And I think ultimately it will be for the benefit of
the generality of the people if Mr. President assents to the electoral bill especially. By virtue of the position I currently occupy, I know the people need nothing other than transparency in governance. People want to see a more proactive government, and I mean across all the tiers of government. We're talking about the executive, the judiciary, and of course the legislature. They want to see a legislature and an executive that is very responsive to their needs and aspirations, their yearnings, so that things are done the way they ought to be done. The people need, I keep maintaining, the bane of any democracy will be the system of the process of emergence or election of leaders. My people need peace. They want to see a government that is responsive, a government that has evolved by virtue of their own votes. The people cannot, they don't want to see pretenders. So it all boils down to the issue of electoral reforms, ultimately. Aside that, we all know that the fundamental, I mean the principal characteristic of or expectation of any constitution, of our constitution, is that the welfare of the people, the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. That is what my people seek.
Now you know. The House of Representatives is neck deep into the process of reviewing the Nigeria Constitution, and one of the items up for deliberation is the creation of more local governments. What do Nigerians think? You and your reps went to town to find out.
The one that is existing, the state government are not allowing the local government to function very well. So to me, it will increase development, but how the state government should allow the local government to function very of their own. They have autonomy of their own to function very well. So if it's not a bad idea anywhere, but the state governors have to allow the local government to function of their own. The funds that they're going to local government, they should go direct to it. The state government, they hijack it. They don't allow the chairman or whatever to have their own project, whatever. So to me, it's a good idea, but the only way is the government should not allow the state government to have the state governors they have in charge, but should allow the local government chairman to function, to have their own duty to execute a project and whatever to make sure to function very well.
Is there fund at all? The current 774 local government we have in Nigeria, we are still grappling on how to fund them. I understand. You are still going to create more local governments. To what benefit? To what benefit? Why would government create more local government when there is no money? Presently, shouldn't even be talking about that right now. What we should be concerned about is the safety, the security, and how to boost the economy. Then when we have more money, then we can create more local governments.
But now, there are a lot of issues at stake. Apart from the issue of creation of local government, you need to look at the level of performance at the 3 tiers of government. Most significantly, the lowest level, that is the local government. They've been tactically crippled. So you need to empower them, strengthen them first. I think that should be the major priority. Because it is something of a great essentials when you are talking of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have 3 tiers of government: federal, state, and local government. If you see the way things are today in the present day Nigerian socio-political arrangement, it's like the local government has gone into extinction.
Local government area is a government drawing closer to the people in a local area. So a local government is avenue of development of the local areas, drawing government and development to the local people in the poor place. So in the creation of local government, like Nigeria Constitution, to create more local government is very, very necessary. Because if you look at Nigeria today, in geopolitical zones and ethnic groups, that's why many people are agitating many things out. Because if you create more local government, you are bringing more development to the local people in other areas. There are some areas where there is no development at all, and you cannot see existence of government at all. But if you create a local government in that area, and let's assume make that place a local government headquarters, tell me what that place will be.
The local governments are not functioning effectively as the third tier of government in the first place. All of them are subsumed under the state. Funds, functions, and everything. Already we are complaining that we are having a humongous government structure. There is need to restructure government so that the cost of governance can be reduced. So rather than create more local government and expand the structure with the attendant cost, to me I feel they should even be reduced so that they can be effectively run. The question would be, are the local governments actually performing, functioning as a third tier of government? We should visit that. It is not the structure, it is the effectiveness. It's just like laws. People say put more stringent laws. Do that. How effective have you enforced the laws that are available?
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment examines the functions of the House Services Committee of the House of Representatives, chaired by Representative Wale Raji. He represents the Ekpe Federal Constituency of Lagos State.
The Committee on House Services is responsible for the welfare of members and also provision of working tools, office equipment, committee vehicles, maintenance of the chamber and committee rooms, and also the building generally. In fact, in a nutshell, if we can just sum up the responsibility of the committee as creating the enabling environment for the efficient running of the house, and also members to be able to perform their legislative duties. And of course, the committee oversees the management of the National Assembly. We have 360 members, including the principal officers and the presiding officers. Every member is expected to be supplied with office equipment, and also all the committee vehicles. These are challenging. It's really challenging meeting these needs of members, particularly so with the paucity of funds. If you look at the funding of the National Assembly, from the from 2011, from the 7th Assembly, the allocation, budgetary allocation of the House has been on the decline. Even though the value of the exchange rate has been going up, but so meaning that in real terms, what we collect, apart from that, the amount of money that been provided in the budget for the House has been on the decline. But in real value, in terms of what it can buy, it has also been reducing. So for instance, in 2011, at the beginning of the 7th Assembly, the budget of the House was about 150 billion, for the year. And the exchange rate was probably around 150 or thereabout, 160, about 160 then. But today, the allocation, the budgetary allocation has gone down to 125, 120, 125, and in real value, the exchange rate has gone up to 480 right now, and officially around 400 naira to $1. So you see that in real value, it has gone down. So this has been really challenging, and this has affected the prices of office equipment. So meeting these needs with reduced budgetary allocation and devaluation that has also affected the value of naira, so it's really been challenging. But to the glory of God, if there are no challenges, there won't be managers. So we are managers of the situation, and we are coping.
We'd like to wish the House Services Committee all the very best in this assignment. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of You and Your Reps. My name is Victor Azu. See you next time.